Okay, we will go ahead and get started. First of all, my name is Andrea Clements, and I am with the Community Foundation. I am the scholarship manager here at the Community Foundation. And also with me tonight is Jenna Freed. Jenna is our communications director, and Jenna is actually going to be monitoring the question and answer portion of tonight. So, just to give you a little heads up of the way that this is going to work, some housekeeping items. You guys are muted as participants. And so what we'll do is use the question and answer function on Zoom in order for you to ask any questions and for us to interact with you. So go ahead and submit your questions as we go. And then every now and again throughout this presentation and webinar, I'm going to pause and we will go ahead and answer any questions that are in that Q&A portion. This webinar is going to be recorded. It is currently being recorded, and it's going to be available, first of all, sent to you via email, but then also it's going to be on our scholarship resources page on our website, along with some other tutorials and information about the scholarship process for your benefit as well. So what I'd like to do for tonight's agenda is go ahead and do a brief overview of our scholarship program here at the Community Foundation. And I will just let you know that this webinar is going to be focused primarily on teaching graduating high school seniors who are applying through the universal application, how to go through that application process. So that is the overarching goal of tonight's webinar. Again, I'm going to be giving you a brief overview of the scholarship program, and then we will be walking you through how to create a login to our scholarship portal. And I will give you some tips and tricks on how to apply to the universal application and just kind of walk through that as well. And then I will take some time at the end to explain the applicant dashboard and what you can see on there and how you know if you have any action to take on some of the scholarships that you may qualify for. So just the brief overview of scholarships at the Community Foundation. This actually is the 30th anniversary of our scholarship program here at the Community Foundation. So the first scholarship was awarded at Findlay High School to a graduating senior in 1995. So we are celebrating our 30th anniversary right now. We started with one scholarship, and as you can see on the screen, we have now over 150 scholarship funds at the foundation. In 2024, we awarded 283 scholarships, totaling over $450,000, and 86% of that was awarded to Hancock County students, either graduating high school seniors, one-time scholarships, it might be renewal scholarships or post-grad or anything like that. So we have grown exponentially, and I'm very excited to be able to continue to manage this scholarship program for a long time. And so just a little bit about our scholarship program. We do have scholarships as a part of those 150 scholarship funds that are held at the foundation that really run the gamut of every type of degree. So if you are listening right now and you are planning to go into trade, so that might be culinary arts, it might be going on to get further certification for welding, cosmetology, anything like that that's considered a trade, we do have some specific scholarships for that. We also have scholarships for 2- and 4-year colleges. We have scholarships for current college students. We have scholarships for graduate and postgraduate students as well. So if you're listening as a graduating high school senior, please keep checking back over the years that you are in college. And then if you do ever decide to go on to get a master's or a postdoctorate or a doctorate, excuse me, a postgrad degree like a doctorate, come back to us again because we might have scholarships for you with that timing as well. And then just based on criteria, it's important for you to know that all of our scholarships are set up by our donors, and our donors set the criteria. So it is going to vary from scholarship to scholarship. Once we get into the application, I'll show you, there's a link in there that has a list of all of the scholarships that are available within the universal application this year. So you'll be able to see that. But If you're on here and you have a 2.5 GPA, awesome. There are scholarships for you. If you have a 4.0 GPA, great. There are scholarships for you as well. Some of our scholarships require financial need. Some of our scholarships are major specific. Some go to specific colleges. So really, truly, there is a scholarship for you. So what I'd like to do is just go through the timeline of the universal application. So many of you may have already applied through the Common App for college. And so you kind of know that in the Common App for college, you fill out one basic application and then you send it to a lot of different colleges. And then maybe one college has an additional essay for you to do, or another college has 2 letters of recommendation that you might need to do. Our universal application for scholarships is very similar. It is a 2-step universal application. So the application is open right now, and it's going to be open through February 5th. Step 1 of the universal application, you're going to get a good look at tonight. So there are a bunch of universal questions that you'll be answering. It could be anything from activities that you've been a part of while you are in high school. It could be honors and awards that you've received. We're going to ask you information about what college you think you might be going to and that type of thing. So I generally tell students that it's going to take you approximately 45 minutes to an hour to fill out step 1 of the application. The good news is you don't have to do that all in one sitting. You'll see that you'll be able to get in there, start it, save, come back to it at another time. But if you think about it, you are applying for over 140 scholarships in one sitting with one set of questions. So take your time on these questions and really answer them as thoroughly as possible. Because what happens is, based on the answers that you give on this universal application in step 1, that is what qualifies you for the scholarships that are within the application. So it's really important for you to be thorough and to really take a look at what you are answering for those questions. Once you go ahead and fill out step 1 and you hit submit, which you'll see tonight, then what happens is there are some of our scholarships that require what I'm calling a step 2. And that might be additional scholarship specific essays. It might be FAFSA information. It might be additional letters of recommendation. But there are some scholarships that do require a step 2. So if you do not complete the stuff in step 2, then you will not be eligible for those scholarships. We do require 1 letter of recommendation and your transcript to be requested through step 1 of the application. And so what we are doing is you guys need to have everything in or requested by February 5th as students. And then we are giving those recommenders or school counselors from whom you're requesting the transcript or the letter of recommendation an additional 2 weeks after February 5th to submit their information. I know that none of you are going to do this, but if you get in and you fill out your application at 11:50 a.m. on February 5th, and you do step 1 and you send out that letter of recommendation request, we want to give that person another 2 weeks to get that letter of recommendation in for you. Then once we have all the letters of recommendation, the transcripts in and everything, we go ahead and we send out these applications to our review committees, and our committees review in March and April. They're all volunteers, and they could be people in the community, they could be teachers or administrators from your school, staff at the Community Foundation, board members, anybody. It's kind of based in the actual scholarship itself tells us who's going to do that. And so they're going to review in March and April, make the decisions, and then we will come around to all of the senior recognition ceremonies in Hancock County in May of 2025. And that is when you will learn whether or not you received a scholarship from the Community Foundation. If you do receive a scholarship, you'll be able to accept it online in the same system you're going to see tonight. And then we will go ahead and send the scholarship monies directly to your college or university. And that typically happens in June or July. So I am going to go ahead and get into setting up a how you can go ahead and set up your username and password. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I will pause just a second and see if there are any questions before I go into this part.
None at the moment. Just a reminder to use the Q&A box in the bottom if you do have something along the way.
Okay, wonderful. So we'll keep going. So the easiest way for you to get to the scholarship portal every single time is to go ahead and go to community-foundation.com. You can see that URL right up here. That's going to take you to our homepage, the Community Foundation's homepage. And if you're in a spot to be able to do this, like if you're watching on your phone right now and you have your laptop or your Chromebook up beside you, you're welcome to go ahead and walk through this process with me. So again, it's community-foundation.com. What you're going to look for is this button right here that says Portal Access. It's under the search bar. It says Portal Access at the top. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And then we'll scroll down just a little bit and we are looking at scholarships. So we're going to go ahead and do My Scholarship Portal. And this is the screen that you should see. This is the scholarship portal. So most of you on this call or on this webinar, I'm going to assume have not created an account yet. If you have, if you're an existing user and you've created that account already, just go ahead and put your email address in and your password and click log in. If you have not created an account, this is the time that you are going to do that. And I'm going to switch over to what's called a sandbox environment because I'm not going to do this in a live site. I don't need to submit a live application. And I'm going to go ahead and walk through this process with you. So we're going to go ahead and hit create new account. When you get to the next page here, you're going to be filling in just basic information. First name, last name, and then we get to the email, which is also going to be your username. You will see here that I've indicated, please do not use your high school email address. We are going to be communicating primarily through email for the scholarship application process, and then also for the award process and renewal process if you do get awarded a renewal scholarship. So please use a personal email address so that after July of 2025, when you graduate and you have moved on from your high school, they're going to shut your email off because you're no longer a student at the high school. So use a personal email address that you check regularly. You can tell that I'm a little bit of a Wicked fan, so I'm going to go ahead and just put in this fake information here. And I am going to ask you to go ahead and put your mobile number in. I do have the capability to text reminders as well. And so when you put your mobile number in, that gives me the option to be able to text you with application reminders or anything like that. And then you'll hit next. It's not going to let me do Oz. We'll do Ohio. We'll go ahead and hit next. And then you create a password for yourself. And I would encourage you to please write the password down that you create. If for some reason you do not remember your password, on the login screen, there is a button that does say forgot password, and then it allows you to request a reset of your password. This page here is asking for email confirmation. The reason that this is important is because, like I said, I am going to be communicating mostly through email and mostly through email through this system. And so every email that you get from the system is going to be from the Findlay-Hancock County Community Foundation. And the address is actually right here, administrator@grantinterface.com. So once you go ahead and do this, you want to look at that email, make sure the email came through and verify that you did receive it. If you didn't receive the email, just go ahead and hit I've not received it and ask the system to send it again. but I'm going to go ahead and move through as though I've checked my email. Okay, that is the registration process. And again, I'm just going to pause real quick and see if there are any questions about creating a username or registering.
None yet.
Okay, very good. So what I'll do now is just give you a basic overview of the applicant dashboard. So when you first log in, it's probably going to take you to the apply page. That's where it's at right now. But what I want to do is show you starting from the home page. So I'm going to hit the home button. And then this is taking you to the home page of your applicant dashboard. As you can tell, this applicant has not applied to any scholarships. They haven't even started a scholarship because everything listed here is at 0. So what you'll see more about how your scholarships kind of move through these columns as we go through the webinar today. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to this apply button. And in this environment, because like I said, it's a sandbox pretend environment, the only application that is available for me to apply to is the Findlay-Hancock County Community Foundation Universal Application. If you are a graduating high school senior in Hancock County, this is the application that you're going to want to apply to, the Findlay-Hancock County Community Foundation Universal Application 2025. When you log in the live environment, you are going to see approximately 9 or 10 scholarships that are listed as open with an apply button. Read very carefully what those scholarships are saying. Many of them are actually for out-of-state scholarships. And so if you're not from Illinois, Indiana, Pennsylvania, New York, you'll just be wasting your time. So definitely just pay attention, and most likely you're going to be applying to the universal application. So I'm going to go ahead and show you 2 things here. There is a preview button. So if you're not quite ready to click apply and you just want to see what all of the questions are, that is going to bring up a PDF, and it's actually going to list every single question that is on the application. Keep in mind that we do use branching technology, and so what you'll see in that PDF is literally every single question, though based on your answers, you may not actually have to answer every single one of those questions. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. And I'll just show you the very beginning of branching here. So you can see that I'm in my application. You can see that the process is the universal application. And then if you scroll down, this is all the further I can go. There is only one question here. So this is an example of branching. This is employee board member relationship. Are you an employee or board member of the community foundation, or a spouse, sibling, parent, grandparent, family member of? And I'm going to go ahead and say no. And then once I answer that, you'll notice that all of these questions start to pop up here. So I'm not quite ready to fill out my application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hit save. I scrolled down to the bottom of the screen and hit save. It's going to tell me, hey, wait a second, you haven't answered any of these questions. So go ahead and go back in and answer these questions, or just know that you're going to need to next time you go in. I'm going to hit continue. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit the home button because I'm really not ready. I'm just not ready to do it yet. So what you'll see is that this is starting to fill in for this applicant. You can see that there's action needed on this scholarship, which is the universal application. You can see the due date. And then also over here, you can see assigned to you, which is kind of just another way to see the action that you might need to do. So if you're not ready now, but you want to do this again at some point, or get back into it and fill it out, you could hit continue here, or you could hit the application button right here. And I am going to take a second and I'm going to log out as the Wicked Witch, and I'm going to log in as administrator because I want to show you an application I already have started. Jenna, any questions about finding the application or anything we've gone over yet?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. Okay, so I just went ahead and re-logged in as now Sam's student. So Sam's student is here. He's my applicant. And you can see that Sam's student is basically in the same spot that the Wicked Witch was. So they've started their application, but they haven't submitted anything. So we're going to go ahead and hit continue. Sam's student has done a little bit more work on their application than the Wicked Witch did. So what you'll see is all kinds of questions that are in here that you'll be answering. And county of residence is important. The first one that I want to highlight for you is student classification. Many students that are in high school now are taking CCP classes and actually have some credits towards college, which is amazing. For the purposes of our scholarships, if you are graduating from high school in 2025, you are still considered a graduating high school senior. So just know that if you are a 2025 graduate from high school, you're going to click graduating high school senior right there. The next thing that I want to show you is this question right here. Would you like to be considered for scholarships that require detailed financial information? So at the foundation, there are 3 types of scholarships as it relates to financial need. Financial need required, financial need considered, and those that do not take financial need into consideration at all. If you want to be considered for all 3 types of scholarships, you will need to hit yes here at this question. And then in a little bit, I'll show you all of the questions that kind of pop up that require you to put answers in if you hit yes. Remember I said I was going to show you a list of all of the scholarships available? When you click here, this is a hyperlink, the word here, it's going to bring up this scholarship list. So a couple important things, you can browse through this scholarship list and see what all scholarships are included in the universal application. But as it relates to financial need in this question, the first column, which is titled FAFSA, is important because any scholarship that has an X in this column is a scholarship that requires you to answer yes here and then provide additional information about your financial situation. That's going to include the FAFSA submission summary, your SAI, which is your student aid index, and some other information. So again, you're going to be putting in parent guardian information. You're going to be putting in your school information, what year you're graduating from high school, all kinds of stuff. GPA information about college courses that you might have taken. And I'm going to stop here at the high school transcript request area and just show you how this portion of the application works. So we do require that a transcript is submitted for every scholarship application. And we are asking you to email your school counselor through the application and ask them to provide your transcript. So I'm going to pretend that I am the counselor here. I'm going to go ahead and request a transcript from Andrea Clements at community-foundation.com. And so you'll put their email address in here. Please note for those of you that attend Findlay City Schools to go ahead and put the full at findlaycityschools.org email address in. And I've just put in here this wording if that is something that would be helpful for you. So literally you can highlight that, Control C, or right click copy, put the person's email address in who is your school counselor. You're going to hit compose email. I'm going to put my name in there. I'm going to say that this is a transcript request. I'm going to go ahead and just paste the information in, and I'm going to say, dear, obviously you would put their name, but dear school counselor, and then it says I'm applying for scholarships. I'm asking you to submit my transcript. It provides my information in case they have a question. And then you are going to sign it and you're going to hit send. And then what you'll be able to see is that the email was sent. You will not be able to see the transcript, but on this question, anytime you log in, you'll be able to see whether or not the transcript has been submitted. And I do want to just take a moment to say that all of the Hancock County School counselors I have very good relationships with, and they will all wait until after the first semester grades have been posted, and then they're going to submit your transcripts. So you may see, or it may kind of show you on your applicant dashboard that you have an outstanding request, a third-party request that's outstanding. If that is your transcript, just know that your school counselor is on top of it. They know that they need to do it, and they are going to wait until after your semester grades are posted, and then they're going to upload all of them for the students from your school. What happens is then once you hit send, they get that email from you. Then they get an email from the system that I'm sending that has a link, and they can directly upload the transcript. So we're just going to keep looking through. There's high school award information. High school athletics is another branching question. So if you hit no here, all of these athletics questions are not going to show up. If you hit yes, then obviously you're going to be asked to fill out this information about the sports that you've participated in. Again, in the sake of time, I've filled out a lot of this ahead of time, but I want to highlight just some very specific areas of the application. And so I want to describe or show that question branching again. Here within involvements, I have not answered the clubs and extracurricular activities question. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And then hopefully you just saw that this clubs and extracurricular activities question popped up. So if I have it at no, that question doesn't exist. I don't need to answer it. If I have it at yes, then I do need to answer it. And we have examples of how you list those activities out. There's religious activities as an option. If you say yes, you'll list that out, volunteer community service, all of that. The next portion of the application I want to show you are the portions that become required when you say yes to the question up at the very beginning, when you say yes, you want to submit your detailed financial information. In step 1 of the application, which is the step we're in right now, all that's going to ask you to do is let me know whether or not you and your parent or guardian have created your FSA IDs or whether you have not created your FSA IDs. It's just for my information. Have you already done that? If you have any questions about the FAFSA, you can email me. I will do my best to answer those questions. I am not an expert in FAFSA, but I do deal with it pretty regularly. The other place you can look is studentaid.gov. That is where you will need to go in order to create your FSA IDs, in order to invite your parent or guardian to create theirs and fill out the FAFSA. That's where you will both fill out the FAFSA. You will find the FAFSA submission summary there once you've submitted everything, and you'll find your student aid index at studentaid.gov as well. More on that in step 2 of the application. Additional questions in this portion, we are going to be asking you about your estimated costs of college. One question I get a lot in this area, the question is name of chosen school or first choice school. If you do not yet know what school you are 100% going to be going to, please put your first choice school in here. So you'll enter that name, you'll enter your tuition, room and board, any textbooks, and we are asking you to please list any scholarships or grants that you've received to date. And that could be merit scholarships, GPA scholarships, anything like that. A lot of the colleges right now are offering fairly good scholarships through the college itself. So go ahead and list that information there. Another question about financial information that you'll be required to fill out if you answer yes to that question at the top of the application is family financial assistance. So are you financing your own education without help from your parents or other individuals? And then if you answered no or partially to the question above, then it's going to ask you what percentage you're paying for, who's helping to finance your education, and then also any other comments regarding your financial situation, if any. So we totally understand that the FAFSA and some of the questions that we've already asked aren't always the full picture of what a financial situation might be for a student or for a family. So this area right here is where you would be able to enter additional information.
Andrea, I have one question related to FAFSA.
Great.
One person asked, will you explain what the FSA ID is?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so the question that they are referring to is right here, FSA ID. And so they're asking, what is an FSA ID? So when you go to studentaid.gov, the very first thing that you as a student and your parent or guardian are going to need to do in order to fill out the FAFSA is create what is called an FSA ID, Federal Student Aid. So right here, Federal Student Aid, FSA ID. And so when you click create account, that is actually what you're going to be doing, is first creating that Federal Student Aid ID. And once you create it as a student, and then also separately, your parent or guardian will need to create one. It is going to take 1 to 3 days in order for the federal government to basically match your social security number and your name that you're putting in when you create an account and verify that you are who you say you are. And once they've verified that, then you have created your federal student aid ID, and you will be able to log in and you will be able to fill out the FAFSA form. Hopefully that answers that question. If
Yep,
there are
and
more questions,
a
go
quick
ahead.
follow-up related to FAFSA.
Yep.
Someone asked if you have multiple children in college, do you fill out a separate FAFSA for each?
That is a great question. And again, I am not an expert in the FAFSA, but I do believe that yes, you are required to fill out a FAFSA for each student that you have in college. Because like I just said, you're going to be creating that FSA ID, and each student has to have their own FSA ID. And then your FAFSA application is going to be connected to that student's FSA ID. You as a parent or guardian may be connected to multiple students on their FAFSA, but your student specifically needs to have their own FSA ID and apply separately for the FAFSA.
That's it for now.
Okay, keep the questions coming. We're happy to answer them. I'm going to move on here from FAFSA a little bit and just look at post-secondary information. Again, I just want to highlight that we are asking for top choice, second choice, third choice. It's okay if throughout the application process, those switch a little bit for you. If you are awarded a scholarship from us, when you do your acceptance, which is going to be not until June, well, maybe May or June, when you fill out that acceptance agreement, you're going to tell me what college you're going to. You're going to include your student ID number for that college, and that is how we're going to direct payment. The only reason why it may be important for you to know what college you're going to specifically is because this question right here, we do have some scholarships that are specific to a university. And so here's what I'll say. If you think you might be going, or like Bowling Green State University is your top 2, choose Bowling Green State University here. If you don't think you're going to any of these and they're not any of your choices, then you would just say, I'm not attending any of these, and that's fine. But like I said, if you think that you might be attending one of these or they're one of your top 3 choices, go ahead and choose that. That way you're qualifying for all of the potential scholarships that you'll have. And then once you are awarded scholarships, if it is an Ohio State University specific scholarship, then, and we award it to you, but you've decided in the meantime you're not going to Ohio State, we will go ahead and actually go ahead and retract that scholarship and award it to the alternate student that is going to Ohio State University. So there's a little bit of movement sometimes towards the end of everything, but just to qualify for everything possible, go ahead and check the ones that are in your top 3. Another question that I get a lot is this year of college question. So again, many of you are taking CCP classes. And so sometimes when you go to that university and you are registering, they're actually going to consider you a second semester freshman. Sometimes some of you are going to have enough credits that a university is going to consider you a second year or a sophomore. Some of you maybe even a third year or a junior. That is wonderful. For our purposes, if you are a graduating high school senior and you have not gone to college to get your undergrad, so like you have not registered for a college where you will be getting your degree, you are considered an undergrad freshman. So again, I'll say that a little bit more plainly. If you are a graduating high school senior, even if you have enough credits that your college is saying that you're a sophomore, for our purposes, you are an undergrad freshman. Hopefully that is clear as mud. All right. And then this type of education, I want to just call this out a little bit as well. This is the type of education that you are pursuing directly after high school. So some of you may be wanting to go on and get a master's or graduate degree or a doctorate or postgraduate degree. That's wonderful. What you are answering here is during the academic year 2025-2026, what are you pursuing? Are you going to a 4-year college, a 2-year college, a trade school? Are you pursuing in the academic year 2025-2026 an associate's, a master's, an associate's, a bachelor's, a certificate, or a master's or graduate? So that's kind of some clarification there. And then, like I said, we do have major specific scholarships. So go ahead and if you are majoring in any of these areas, you would go ahead and choose your major. If you're double majoring, yes, choose both. That is totally fine. We do ask for your minor. If you're not minoring in anything, you can just put not applicable. And then 2 more areas to highlight in step 1 of the application. And then I'm going to hit submit and we'll see how many scholarships we have qualified for with Sam's student as the applicant. The first area here is scholarship specific requirements. Please read through every one of these line items and these check boxes. And if you qualify for that area, check all that you qualify for. You will notice as you start checking some of these that there are going to be branching questions that open up as you check them. This area of the scholarship application are all questions that are for very specific scholarships. So you'll see in here, one example is I'm a member or employee or the grandchild of a member employee of Legacy Farmers Cooperative. We hold the Jerry Sylvia Scholarship, and that is for a member or employee or grandchild of a member or employee of Legacy Farmers. So in order to qualify for that scholarship, you'll have to click this button here. Let's see. I'm a member of Hancock Federal Credit Union residing in Hancock County. Important. We are talking about whether or not the student is a member of the Hancock Federal Credit Union, not the parent or guardian. So does the student have an account at Hancock Federal Credit Union? We do have Cooper Tire and Rubber scholarships, both the Cooper Tire and Rubber Scholarship and the Roy V. Arms Scholarship, which is also through Cooper. Cooper has been bought out by Goodyear, but if your parent is still working for what is now known as Goodyear and did work at a Findlay location of Cooper or another legacy location of Cooper, then you would want to check this. So again, just read very carefully through this entire portion of the application and check the things that are true to you. If none of these apply, then you just hit none apply. And that is no problem at all. And then the last area that I want to talk about before we go ahead and hit submit is the Universal Application Letter of Recommendation. So this letter of recommendation is going to be included with every single scholarship that you qualify for. So all of the evaluators are going to see this letter of recommendation. If you qualify for the Findlay High School Class of 1970 scholarship, this will be a part of it. If you qualify for the Jean and Elaine Stevens scholarship, this letter of recommendation is going to be part of it. So it's a very general letter of recommendation in that we want you to ask somebody who is a non-family member with whom you are very familiar. Could be a teacher, it could be an administrator at your school, a coach, somebody from your religious organization. It could be an employer that you want to ask for this letter of recommendation. This area is exactly like the transcript area, where I have some wording here that if you want to, you can use to copy and paste. And then you are going to enter the email address of the individual from whom you're asking for this letter of recommendation, and you're going to hit compose email. Again, you're going to put your name in here. And then you are going to either type your own email, or if you're using my wording, you can just go ahead and paste it in there. And then you'll be able to hit send. But before I hit send, what I do want to let you know is we recommend that before you even send this email to someone, you have already talked to them, hopefully face to face, and asked them for that letter of recommendation so that they know that this request is coming and it's not a surprise to them. I'm going to go ahead and hit send. And then again, you'll be able to see that the email was sent. It is very important that you put the correct email address in here. If you put an email address in here, you compose an email and you send it, and then you delete and you put another email address in here and you do the exact same thing. It is going to lock the first person out. So Andrea Clements got an email from you first that said, hey, go ahead and upload this letter of recommendation for me. Then you deleted Andrea Clements's email and you put in Jenna Freed's email and sent it to Jenna Freed. You just locked Andrea Clements out. So you can only request one letter of recommendation through this space here in the application. If you run into issues with letters of recommendation, please contact me and I'd be happy to help you walk through that. And then there is a universal application essay that, again, this essay is going to be included with every single one of your scholarship applications. Even if in step 2, there's another essay that's required, this one essay right here in step 1 is going to be included in every single application that our evaluators are looking at. So as I say here in green, take your time to thoughtfully and completely answer this question in a way that allows our evaluators to understand who you are as a person and what your goals are. The way that the system works, because you're answering all of these questions, is that our evaluators are only going to see students that qualify for the scholarship that they are evaluating. So if the requirement is a 3.5 GPA or higher and you participated in football for 2 years, the only applicants that they are going to see are students who have a 3.5 GPA or higher and participated in football for 2 years. So everybody's basically going to look kind of the same. The exceptions to that are your letters of recommendation, your essay, any of the activities that you put in, so your clubs, your organizations that you've been a part of, your honors and awards that you've received, any religious activities, trying to think, volunteer community service, Those are the things that are really going to set you as a student apart from other students. So you could very easily go in, barely answer any of these questions, and just do the bare minimum, hit submit, and qualify for some scholarships. And you will. If you answer every single question, you will likely qualify for at least one of our scholarships. But you will not rise to the top and get noticed by our evaluators if you've put the bare minimum effort in. They are looking for students who are standing out in the way that they've been involved, their essay stands out to them, or their letters of recommendation stand out to them. And then you'll hit agree here. And by hitting this, you're saying that everything that you have put in this application is true and that you're confirming that it is accurate to the best of your knowledge. And you will hit submit. And this is going to take a little bit because we're trying to qualify for 150 scholarships. So this system is going to sit here for a second and spin. And while it does, let's see if there are any other questions.
There was one question that I answered by typing, which was a student asked if there are scholarships for community college. And you did answer that when you showed us, which type of school you're going to and which degrees. But there hasn't been anything since then.
Okay, very good. Like I said, this
And
takes a little while. So if you have hit submit in your application and it is sitting here doing what you see right now, wait while your form is submitted with it spinning. That is accurate. That is exactly what should be happening right now because it is trying to qualify this student for as many scholarships as possible.
And while it's spinning, I thought I'd throw in my 2 cents that I've been evaluating scholarships for 10 years now at the Community Foundation. And to Andrea's point, it really is your essays and your letters of recommendation that set you apart. There are so many incredible students who have amazing extracurricular records, who participate in all of the things. So be sure to spend your time on those essays and with your reviewers.
Thank you very much. So we have our results from our application. So you can see here, the application has been submitted. This confirmation page that you're seeing right now, this is the only time that you are going to see this exact page with this exact information. You'll see when I go to this next section how you will see every scholarship you've qualified for. But if it's important for you to know this specific information, I would screenshot it. Or you can learn this same information on our website about any of the scholarships. You would just go to our website and you could search in here for Cooper Scholarship. And then it would pull up all of this information as well. And even more than what is listed right here. So you see that this student has qualified for a lot of scholarships. I did that kind of on purpose because I answered a lot of questions that I knew would qualify this student for scholarships. An important thing to notice here is at the bottom, it says we are going to ask for supplemental information for the following scholarships. This is the step 2 that I'm talking about. Every single one of these scholarships that the student has qualified for requires information in step 2. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward into applicant dashboard again in step 2 of the application, unless there are questions first.
Yep, there is one more. I believe this means on the main dashboard, there are some scholarships on the website that show that they needed to be applied separately from the universal application. How do we apply for those? And I guess the follow-up question would be, who should apply for those?
Yes, yes. Okay. So my answer is going to be, it depends. If you are a graduating high school senior from Hancock County, likely you do not need to apply for those other scholarships. The only scholarship that you need to apply for is the universal application. So if you have questions about that, email me before you start an application and just ask, or read the description and it's going to say very specifically, this scholarship is for a graduating high school senior from Cedar Lake, Indiana. If you live in Hancock County, Ohio, you are not from Cedar Lake, Indiana, so you don't qualify for that scholarship. Hopefully that is helpful.
Correct. And to answer like the question, how do you apply for those? It's a similar application to the universal, just more specific.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit continue here. What this does when you hit continue is it automatically takes you into the first scholarship that requires additional step 2 information. If you're not ready to do step 2 information, that is okay. You'll hit continue there anyway, or you can just go ahead and hit the home button. And now you can see that Sam student, who before only had this one action needed sitting here, now has all of these other scholarships that they have qualified for that are sitting under the action needed column. And then also each of those scholarships is broken out separately, and you can go ahead and start step 2 of these applications that require it. So let's just look at this home screen a little bit, the applicant dashboard now. Like I said, these are scholarships that do have a step 2 that's required that are listed over here. And so you can go ahead and click in, you're going to click start. You can see here that for the W. Kenneth and Ruth S. Helby scholarship that you've qualified, or that Sam's student has qualified for, that the only additional information that is required is the FAFSA submission summary to upload and the student aid index. So again, the FAFSA submission summary is what you get once you fill out the FAFSA, and the student aid index number is included on that summary. So you'll go ahead and upload. Oh, it's telling me I need a PDF, so I'm going to find a PDF to upload. So good to know. You need to do PDF. And then I'm just going to pretend like I know what my student aid index is, and I'm going to enter that, and I'm going to hit submit. And then everything is included here. You can go back to your home screen, and you'll notice that that one is no longer sitting over here, but it is still sitting in action needed. That is because one of the icons I want to show you is this little person icon. It is the third party icon that is set up through the system. So if I hover over that, you'll see that the universal application is showing that there are 0 of 2 third party items that have been submitted. So third party items are your transcripts and your letters of recommendation. So with the universal application, you requested a transcript. Looks like that hasn't been submitted yet. And you requested a letter of recommendation, and it looks like that has not been submitted yet. So that's why it's still sitting here in action needed. And also this one is sitting here in action needed because those 2 items are still required for this scholarship as well, because they go with every single scholarship. I'm going to go ahead and search for another one I want to show you. I'm going to show you Tent Maker actually. We'll go ahead and go into Tent Maker. So with Tent Maker, this is the additional step 2 information. It's telling you that you need a second general letter of recommendation. And so all of these scholarships require another general letter of recommendation. Same exact process that you're going to do like you did in step 1, except this is going to be a different person that you are requesting this letter of recommendation from. And we're going to hit send. It'll show that there. And then this one also has an additional essay that you will take your time and answer the question thoughtfully. And then you'll hit submit application. You're going to go back up to your home page. Now you're going to see that tent maker is no longer over here. It's over in the action needed because not only do you still have these two from your universal application that you're waiting on for third party, now you're waiting on an additional letter of recommendation for this one. So these little red icons are really important for you to see as well. And then the last one that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to search for this to make this go a little faster, is Schluter. And the reason I'm showing you this is because some of these questions, the FAFSA question and the second general letter of recommendation, you'll notice that I already in here in my Schluter scholarship already have the FAFSA information entered because I entered it on that first scholarship. And I already have this general letter of recommendation that was sent as well. And so I don't need to remove any of this. I don't need to redo any of this. Literally, all I need to do for this one is hit submit. And then you will notice that now the Schluter one is sitting over here. And again, the reason that it's sitting in action needed is because that one letter of recommendation has not been submitted yet. As soon as the transcript and letter of recommendation for the universal application are submitted and these letters of recommendation are submitted, these are going to move into the no action column for you guys. Okay. So that was a lot, and I do completely understand that that was a lot. I'm going to go ahead and pause and just see if you guys have any additional questions about the application or anything else as it relates to the Community Foundation scholarships.
Nothing in Q&A right now. We may have some people typing, so we'll give it just a second. Just a reminder that this was recorded. We'll have it up on our website tomorrow if you need to refer back as you're filling out your app.
We'll wait here just a second and see if there are some more questions that come in.
Okay, we do have one. Are the people submitting letters of recommendation doing it once or multiple times for different scholarships?
So that's a good question. So I would recommend that you only ask a person one time to submit the letter of recommendation. So I think I understand what you're saying. So I showed you the Schluter one and also the other one that you requested from that one person. They will only need to submit it one time. They'll get that one email from the system and they'll get the email from you and they'll be able to upload it. And when they upload it, then it's going to apply to every single one of those scholarships that was listed automatically. So that second general letter of recommendation maybe is what you're referring to. You'll request it one time, they'll upload it one time, and it will go ahead and populate on every single one of those scholarships that that question applies to. Any other questions that have been typed in yet?
That looks like it.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for participating in the webinar. Thank you for asking thoughtful questions. If you have the question, chances are a lot of other people do as well. Please contact me. Again, my name is Andrea Clements. I'm the scholarship manager here at the foundation. My email address is listed on the screen, and you're welcome to email me. And then my phone number here at work is listed as well. Feel free to give me a call, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you very much and take care.